Hello everybody, it's Kara from Wild Book Garden, and today I'm here to talk about my books that I plan to read for Middle Grade Magic. So Middle Grade Magic is of course a middle grade themed readathon that I created and I co-host along with some wonderful people, Kira from Kira the Scrivener, Yvette from Book Cave, Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly, and Yara at Array of Reading. I will link all of them down below as well as their announcement videos. We're so excited that this is round 5. Yeah, and I don't really have my books organized by prompt. I'm going to mention the prompts as I go, but if you want all of that info, check out our announcements. We also do have a group book for the first time, that is Witchlings by Claribel A. Ortega. I actually just finished that one, so I won't be putting that in my TBR here, but we will be planning a live show to discuss it. We're thinking probably like the first few days of November, but we haven't confirmed anything. So keep an eye on our social media for that. So let's go ahead and just chat about the books real quick. The Moon Within by Aida Salazar. This is a novel in verse about a main character who is I think she's like just hitting puberty, and her mom wants her to do this kind of like traditional kind of cultural like ceremony or like event, and she's like, "Mom, that's weird, I don't want to do it." And I think it's just about kind of that process. It's about like growing up, it's about like young women. I've heard really good things about this one, and I mentioned it is in verse. I've read a little bit of this one already and I really love the writing, so I'm looking forward to continuing. And this I could use for Latin American author, and I also could use it for a genre or a book category that you don't read as often in middle grade, because even though I do feel like I read a decent number of novels in verse, I think that compared to novels in prose, they're just so much rarer that I could kind of use it for this prompt if I wanted to. The other one I could use for that, for the prompt of like reading a kind of book you don't usually read in middle grade, is Scottish Fairy Tales, Myths and Legends by Mary Kidd. I do really love these cover designs. This is exactly what it says in the title, and I feel like I tend to read more, like I do read kind of folktales or fairy tale collections, but I think much more often than that I read books that include those or like are kind of based on them or inspired by them. So I could also use this one. Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. This is for the prompt of reading a book that won an award other than the Newbery, which, as we said, you can still read a book that won the Newbery, it just also has to win or be nominated for something else. And this one did win the Schneider Book Award, Schneider Family Book Award one year, which is about disability representation. And this is about a main character. She's a young girl who I believe is deaf, and she ends up learning about this very well-known, I think, blue whale, a certain kind of whale, who also is deaf or has kind of like hearing disabilities, and the way that that affects their whale song and how they can or can't connect with other whales. And this girl like really feels a connection because of to this whale because of that, and I think she becomes determined to like find the whale and learn about that whale. I don't know, like as far as I know, Lynn Kelly is not herself deaf or hard of hearing, but the fact that it did win the Schneider Family Book Award I think is at least cause for hope. But yeah, and I've heard pretty good things about that one. Then I have one that I have finally started currently reading, that is Into the Spotlight by Carrie Hope Fletcher. The number of times I put this on a TBR is like absolutely ridiculous. My friend Bekka picked this for me to read for my 12 Books, 12 Friends. And I'm only at the very beginning, but it's lovely so far, so I'm excited to keep reading it. It's about 3 kids who team up to save a theater, which, as I always say, sounds like exactly my thing. I'm using this for the reader recommendation by a friend and or book blogger, and I also could use it for the read a book that helps fulfill a goal that you have, because the 12 books thing is theoretically something I wanted to get done this year. We'll see if that happens. Also, by the way, if you want to just do like the basic level prompts, there's only 3 of those, and you can hit all of them if you read our group book. I'd also like to read A Festival of Ghosts by William Alexander. This is the sequel to, what was the first one called? I should have looked that up. I think A Properly Unhaunted Place, I think, which my friend Olivia Savannah gifted me, and I really enjoyed. And this is a kind of contemporary paranormal story. I don't really remember what the second one is about, but I really liked the first one. I could also use this for a book by a Latin American author, and for a book that feels seasonal, because I'm including like a few kind of spooky books on this list, although you can interpret seasonal in a lot of different ways. So yeah, looking forward to reading that one. Speaking of spooky, I have What Stays Buried by Suzanne Young. This is another creepy middle grade that I think is going to be like heavier on the creepy stuff, from what I gather from like the description and the cover and everything. So our main character is named Callista, and when she turns 13, her magic powers are going to vanish forever, which is extra bad because there are kids disappearing. They think it is the work of somebody named the Tall Lady, an angry spirit with a grudge against Callista, her family, and the entire town, who has taken a special interest in Callista's little sister, Molly. So the pressure is on, there's a lot at stake here, and I think this will be a great atmospheric one. I have Conjuring Island by Eden Royce. This is a beautiful cover. So I absolutely loved Root Magic by Eden Royce. That's one that a lot of people have read and really raved about, which I think deservedly so. And this book is, I don't know if it's set with like the same, like I know it doesn't follow the same main characters. I don't know if there's like character overlap, but I do know that this book similarly incorporates Gullah-Geechee culture from like the islands around South Carolina here in the US, and that it is kind of a blend of those true like cultural practices, but also adding like a fantasy or a fictional element. And I don't really know that much about this one. I think our main character ends up being sent to stay with her great-grandmother, who she's never met or even heard of, and she thinks that's really weird. And her grandmother is like teaching her about these like old traditions called conjure magic, and Dell, our main character, thinks that's like kind of weird, but whatever. And then she finds out that it actually is real magic, that it actually works. I loved Eden Royce's previous novel, so it's about time that I read her next one. I have The Enchanted Life of Valentina Mahia by Alexandra Alessandri. This is a very short novel. Our main character is, of course, Valentina Mahia, and her brother end up having to, I think, go after their dad and rescue him because he is like a, is he kind of like a cryptozoologist or something? Yeah, so he spent his life studying Colombia's legendary creatures and searching for proof of their existence. And then it seems like not only are the creatures real, but they actually take their dad, like they kidnap him. And so Valentina and her brother have to come to terms with the fact that these creatures maybe actually exist. And they also have to rescue their dad. I'm using this for, I could use it for Latin American author, of course, and also for the Latin American folklore or mythology prompt, because some of the creatures they talk about, I think, are specifically Colombian legends. And also this one is really beautifully signed and dedicated because I got it as part of a fundraiser, so I definitely want to read this soon. And then I think the final book that I have here, I'm also of course going to be reading the next Circle Opens book by Tamora Pierce as part of that read-along, and as I said, we do have a group book, but I already read that one. So I think if I'm not forgetting something, the last one I want to talk about is We Still Belong by Christine Day. I love Christine Day. I have no idea what this book is about. Like, I don't even remember because I don't need to know because I have absolutely loved everything I've read by her. I've read her 2 previous novels. I've read 1 or 2 short stories she's had in anthologies, and she's a favorite author for me. That is the prompt I'm using this for as well. Read a book by an author you love. Also, there's a kitty on the cover. Like, I just think this is going to be fantastic. Christine Day is a native author, and she specifically is Upper Skagit, and her main characters are native as well. And I'm just so excited to have a book by her to read. Okay, so I think those are all the books I was going to talk about. Let me know if you guys are reading along with us. If you even read like one middle grade book, like during the readathon, that totally counts. The official dates are from October 20th through the 31st. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you soon with another video, and I hope you love the next book you read. Bye!